I just did this Insta360 setup, and in this video I'm going to walk you through the entire process of how to do this. Let's go. We'll need to remove the seat by unscrewing the bolt on either side of the seat. Once you take the seat off, you'll have access to the plate underneath. Now we'll also need to remove this plate underneath by unscrewing these 6 screws. You will also need a set of mounting brackets, also known as bull bar mounting brackets. If you go to Amazon and search for mounting brackets for motorcycles, these should show up, and I chose the 2-piece mini option. We will also need a couple of flat washers. They should be at least 8 of those, and they should fit M8 bolt size. We'll also need bolt and nut, which is M8 and at least 40 mm in length. With this method, you will lose a foot peg, so you can decide which side you want to mount the brackets onto. Set up the bolt and a washer like this, and insert them into each hole. It should look like this on the underside. Now I use 3 washers as spacers so I can make some spacing between the fairing and the bracket itself. Now if you don't use the spacers, you will notice the bracket will touch the fairing, it might scratch it. We'll insert 3 washers and then also insert the bracket into the bolt. Now I'll temporarily hold it down with the nut, and I would suggest that you use some sort of Loctite just to make sure the nut doesn't fall off due to vibrations. Put the nut on, but don't tighten as of yet because we will be moving the bracket around. We'll do the same on the first one, but this side is a bit more complicated, but there is a solution to this. The problem is the difference between the bolt and the plastic back is ever so subtle, and it's a little bit tight, and that makes it difficult for the bracket to actually fit in, and that might scratch your fairing. Now the scratch is ever so subtle and you barely notice it. Like before, insert 3 washers to make some spacing between the fairing and the bracket. Now input the bracket by holding the bolt and pulling it towards you just to make a little bit of space between the plastic back. It might take a bit of force, but you will be able to put it through. Once you have the bracket on, use the nut to hold it down temporarily, and of course use Loctite. We will now unscrew the 4 screws on the bracket itself so we can put the Insta stick through it. Insert the stick through it. Now something to be careful about is there are rubber grommets into the bracket, and if you push the stick too hard, they might come off, and then you will have to unscrew the bracket to put them back on. Now when I do this, I just make sure the base of the stick, it actually rests on the first bracket, just like so. You also have a bit of flexibility to play with the angle of the camera. So if you want the camera to be a bit more high, you can add additional spacer on the left bracket and remove 1 spacer from the right bracket. That will angle the camera a bit more higher. Secure the stick down by tightening the 4 screws on the bracket. We can also now tighten the bolts and the nuts that hold the bracket. If you have reached this far, you're pretty much done. We just need to put the plate and the seat back on, and they should be good to go. This is it. Mount the camera of your choice and you're ready to go. I will also shortly show you what the camera angle looks like. I think it gives you a pretty decent coverage. You can even zoom out to get the more out of the view. If you spend your time on my channel, I thank you. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Follow my Instagram and TikTok for live updates.